Welcome to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about homesteading stuff and life stuff and everything in between. Join me, Amy Dingman, as we explore big questions on a little farm. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. This is episode 288, I believe. How are you today? Thank you so much for coming back here for another episode. This is the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we are working together to figure out how to be decent humans and live a good life. I'm Amy Dingman. I have a website called A Farmish Kind of Life, farmishkindoflife.com. I live in central Minnesota on a 5-acre homestead where I'm going to be having tomatoes coming out of my ears pretty quick here, and maybe also sweet corn. But that seems like a really good problem to have, right? We're building that DIY grocery store, and the DIY grocery store is quite full, and that's pretty awesome, so I am excited. What are we talking about today? Today, we are talking about something that I realized after watching the animals on my farm, specifically the barn cats and the dogs, and I was watching how they react to different situations, and I realized it totally applies to people. And the basic message is that everyone thinks they are right, and everyone is right. But I'm going to need to explain what I mean by that. Before we get to that, what has been happening on the lifestead? Well, the garden is doing really, really good. I can't complain. Everything's going awesome with that. I go out and I check all the vegetables and I'm like, oh, there's more to bring in. Now I got to figure out what to do with them. So good problem to have. And it's been a really great year in the garden. What else? As much as I'm excited for this garden, I'm going to tell you, I'm real excited for fall. And we have had some cooler nights here already. Here in Minnesota, we've had some nights that are dipping way down. I walk outside either late at night or early in the morning, and I can see my breath, y'all. We're down in the 40s, dipping close to those 40s, into the 40s. And I love it. I love it. You walk outside and you're like, oh, I can feel it. It's coming. Fall is coming. Fall's my favorite season. If you don't know that about me, I don't think you've been listening to this podcast very long. What else? The rabbits. We got meat rabbits this year. We got our breeders back in May from Nate and Aaron at Two Chicks Homestead. We've got two girls and one boy. And they are just about 6 months old, I believe. Next week they're going to be 6 months old. And so it's just about time for me to hang a disco ball and play some Barry White for them. You know what I'm saying? But we're actually not going to breed them until mid-September, late September, when we get back from our week away up north at our cabin. If you've listened to this podcast for a while, you know that every September I head up north for a week. Usually we're bear hunting, but nobody got a bear license this year. Nobody got drawn for that. So we're just going to go up for some grouse hunting and just some relaxing and hanging out in the woods and having a great time. So we do that every year. So we're going to breed the rabbits after we get back, because I kind of think it might be cruel and unusual punishment to breed them now and then have them ready to kindle about the time that I'm leaving for this annual week at the cabin. And then we leave them with the farm sitter, who's probably going to be, our oldest son, who, might go in there and see an issue and then call me and be like, the rabbit is doing this, so what does that mean? And me not even having a concept of what to tell him, because I'm just as new to a pregnant doe as the farm sitter boy would be, right? So I think it would just be best to wait until all that excitement is done, and then I can just be here to watch everything. What else? Last week, I did a Spicy Sisters live stream with Nicole from Living Free in Tennessee. That was super fun. So if you want to check that out, you can head over to my YouTube channel. We talked about everything under the sun, y'all. We talked about punk rock music. We talked about eyeliner. We talked about why the world is angry. We talked about everything from black strawberry tomatoes to getting older on the homestead, and a whole bunch of other things too. Every time Nicole and I decide we're going to do a live stream together, we kind of make a list of things we might want to talk about, and then we start the live stream and we absolutely and completely stray from that list. And it's always a very delightful time. So check that out. I will stick a link for that in the show notes. Otherwise, just head over to YouTube and check out my most recent live stream. All right, with that, we're going to head over to the main topic here, and we're going to talk about how we are all right in our own world. last month, we had a mom show up with a bunch of kittens, 8 baby kittens, and they were probably 6 to 8 weeks old at that point. And one of these kittens was very, very friendly, and the rest of the kittens are not friendly at all. They're very frightened, they're scared, they run, but there's this one kitten that will come to you and loves to be cuddled and held. And it always amuses me because when I walk in the barn in the morning or at night to do chores, the first thing that I do is I feed the cats. And the friendly baby kitten will come running up and very friendly, hello, I'm here to get my food. The rest of the kittens will run. The rest of the kittens act like I am this big scary monster every single time that I go into the barn. Like I'm out to get them, like I'm there to do them harm, like I have horrible intentions. They run and they are scared and they're just like, right? When all I'm trying to do is pour out a little food for them before I do the rest of the barn chores, right? And I was thinking the other day when I go in there and they run again, right? I was thinking about if all these baby kittens that are freaking out that I'm coming into the barn, if they had social media, if there was like cat Facebook or something, their posts would probably look something like, oh my gosh, there is this terrible thing that comes into the barn and she's stalking us and I don't know what she's doing. I don't know why she's coming at us. And then, she'll like leave food, but that's probably because she wants us to like come up to her and then she's probably going to capture us and get rid of us. And that might be what their social media would look like, right? Now, if the friendly little kitten was on social media and was making a post, this friendly little kitten might say, oh my gosh, and then this morning that friend came into the barn again and she's just so nice and she reaches down and she pets me and then she gives me food and she picks me up and she kisses me and she's just so nice and I just love her. She's just so wonderful. So I'm coming into the barn doing what I'm doing and there's two different perceptions of what that is, right? I was thinking of this same thing when I was watching our dogs. We have 3 dogs here, and the newest dog, and I shouldn't even say the newest dog because she's been here for many years, but the last dog that we gained ownership of, her name is Coco, and she thinks she has to bark at everything. She thinks she's the boss. She thinks she needs to scold everything, especially the other 2 dogs, like she's in charge. She's not in charge. She's not the alpha female. She's not the big dog, but she likes to think she is. So she will often bark at the other dogs for something that isn't even a thing. It's not even an issue, but you can tell she's super exasperated. Like she's supposed to be in charge of the world, in charge of the whole farm. Nobody's listening to her. When in reality, she doesn't even know what she's doing. She doesn't even know what she's talking about or barking about, I should say, right? But if Coco had social media, if there was dog Facebook, she'd probably be like, oh my gosh, and those other 2 dogs, they won't listen, and my mom won't even listen, and I'm like trying to like make everything work, and it's not working, and nobody's paying attention to me, and they're just terrible, right? That's what her posts might look like. My other 2 dogs, if they were on Facebook, they would be like, yeah, so this other dog that lives here, Coco, I don't know what her deal is. She's like freaking out about everything. She's making a big deal about everything. I don't know who she thinks she is or like what she thinks she's changing, but like she's just all sorts of crazy and really noisy. I don't even know. That's what the other 2 dogs would probably say. So again, like a situation on the farm and the dogs all have a different way of dealing with it, right? Same situation, different perceptions. And this makes me think about the things that people say and the beliefs that they hold and the perspective that they are coming from. I listened to a speaker the other day. It was actually a pastor on a podcast. And this pastor said something to the effect of what most folks don't understand is that anything that comes out of someone else's mouth makes perfect sense to that person. The beliefs that someone else has makes perfect sense to them. That's why they believe it, right? We're all coming from a place where the things that we are saying and thinking are things that we are saying and thinking because they're the things that make sense to us. And when you see someone post something and you read it or you hear someone say something and you're listening and you're like, okay, what? Or you're in a conversation with someone and you're on two totally different sides of the fence regarding your opinion. It's not like that other person is making stuff up to annoy you. And it's not like you're purposely making stuff up to annoy the other person. You are both just speaking from what makes sense to you. So when I walk in the barn and most of the kittens freak out, they're not doing it because they want to make me roll my eyes, right? And it's not like Coco is barking at the other two dogs when she thinks they took too long coming across the yard. It's not like she does that just to get under my skin. The kittens are doing what seems right to them. Coco is barking because she thinks that's what you're supposed to do. Like, that is right to her. She thinks she's doing the right thing. Now, I'm not bringing this up to excuse people's actions. I'm not bringing this up to excuse people's reactions. I'm just pointing out what I think we can safely say is a reality, okay? The way we look at life makes sense to us. What we think is right and wrong, and what we think are the reasons behind why things happen, the conclusions we draw, the opinions we have, that's all stuff that makes sense to us. And we look at other people and we think, how can they think that? Or why are they so dumb? Or how could they even say that? Right? We say that, or we think that. The reason that they can think that or say that or believe that is because they're viewing the world through the set of eyes that are in their head, which hook up with the brain in their skull, and it makes sense through that. And I know some of you are thinking right now, and it's some of our immediate reactions because we hear what someone says and we're like, well, okay, that's what you believe, but you're wrong. I know that you think that that's right because that's your reality, but you're stupid. Or I can't help it if you don't know what you're talking about, right? These are all things that go through our head. Sometimes these are things that we say. Here's the thing. We're all right in our own world. We are all right according to our own experiences. We don't keep doing things in a way that doesn't work, right? We do things because they work for us. We believe things because that has worked for us. If I'm standing in front of a vending machine, okay, let's paint a picture here. If I'm standing in front of a vending machine and I'm trying to feed $1 into it, and I keep pushing it in and keep spitting it out, and I'm pushing it in and it's spitting it back out, I'm only going to do that for so long before I decide the vending machine doesn't work and I walk away. Someone else might stand in front of that same vending machine doing the same exact thing because they happen to know that every 26th time it's going to take their $1. And if they choose A6 on the little keypad and then they bump the side of the vending machine with their hip, they're going to end up with 2 bags of Oreos instead of just 1. And I have walked away from the vending machine not knowing that. And I think the other person is stupid for staying there pushing that $1 into the machine over and over and over again. And the other person is walking away with their 2 bags of Oreos thinking I'm stupid because I walked away. And you know what? We're both right in our own world. The feral kittens in my barn who think I am a monster, they are right in their own world. They are right in their own reality. My dog, who thinks that her barking is somehow going to make my other 2 dogs realize the error of their ways, she's right in her own world. That's her reality. That's what she believes. If you think that boycotting a streaming service because someone from there made a donation to someone's campaign is going to make a difference in your life, you're right. Ain't nobody going to tell you different. If you think that not posting on Facebook for the next 6 months is going to make a difference in your life, you're right. If you think that posting political content on Facebook 10 times a day until November is going to make a difference in your life, you're right. You are going to do what you think is right, no matter what that is, and no matter if it lines up with what someone else is doing or saying or trying, and you're going to be right. But you know what? So is everyone else. Whether you think living in a tiny house in the woods or a high-rise in Manhattan is best, you are right. Whether you think it's best to eat carnivore or vegan or the all-American fast food diet, you're right. Whether you think it's best to follow your wildest dreams or settle down and get a sensible job, you're right. Whether you think it's really awesome or really stupid that I keep feeding all these stray cats that show up at my house, you're absolutely right. Whether you think the Farmish Kind of Life podcast is really great or a bunch of total BS, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right for how it applies to your own life, because you're not going to continue to think and do and believe things that don't in some way work out for you, at least a little bit along the way. We believe things to be true because we've seen them prove to be true for our own life. And I'm not saying at all that some of those paths don't lead to really bad places, but along the way, you're going to keep partaking or doing or believing or fighting for the thing at hand because there's some reason you can point to that makes it right for you. So, what does this all mean in the context of current times? Why am I talking about this? I don't know that I really have an answer here, but what I do have is the desire for people to have some perspective. Okay, if we're talking politics, there are people who agree with where I stand politically, and obviously I can see their point of view. There are also people who completely disagree with my political stance on certain issues, but I can look at them. If I take a minute and step back, I can look at their life. I can look at how they've lived. I can look at where they live. I can look at the job they work. I can look at the life experiences they've had and go, okay, I get it. I get why you believe this way is right. And then it's not me saying that, going, I can see why you think that and you're wrong. That's not the point. The point here is some perspective. And I am not saying this to be all like kumbaya and we all need to come together. I'm not doing this to be like unicorns and glitter and Tweety birds. That's not why I'm saying this. I'm just saying this as a truth that everybody out there looks at the world through their own set of eyes, processes things through their own brain, which is a filter through like the experiences you've had in life. And that shapes the way you see the world. And I think, especially in times that are kind of chaotic, in times that are a cocktail of chaos, as I have said, in times like that, it's really hard to remember that there's a gazillion people on the planet, right? And there's a gazillion different life experiences. And the way that you are looking at the world is just the way you're looking at the world. There might be a lot of people that agree with you. There's probably a lot of people who don't. And I don't know what the answer is for that. I don't know how it is that we move past that. I don't know if move past is the right word, but you know what I'm saying? Like, how do we work with that? I think the first way we work with that is by realizing that it's a thing, okay? When somebody's talking to you and they disagree with you, it's absolutely from their life experience, and they're only speaking from what they know. They're speaking from the fact that they are right in their own world, and you're right in your own world. So I don't know that that gives us any answers at all, but it's just that moment of pause when you're talking to somebody and you're not on the same page. It might be because you're in completely different books. That's why you're not on the same page. And sometimes you're going to have to agree to disagree just because your life experiences are different. So this today is just like, keep that perspective in mind as you're going through life, but especially in the next few months, as we are navigating the cocktail of chaos that is being served. Perspective, y'all. Let's just try to do our best to keep that in mind. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you can take this podcast episode and just kind of suck it into your brain and your soul and think about it a little bit. And maybe it'll just give you half a second to think if you end up in a conversation or you're scrolling social media and you're just like, what in the world? Why is everybody so dumb? Just some perspective, y'all. We've all had different life experiences. And that's that. Have an awesome week, you guys. And I will talk to you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the show today. To continue the conversation, visit our website at afarmishkindoflife.com, find A Farmish Kind of Life on social media, or drop me an email at amy@afarmishkindoflife.com. Peace, love, and bacon, y'all. Stay Farmish.